Hello, we are doing a case analysis on Raymond James. I'm Julia Calvert.
I am Matthew Girth.
And I'm Shison Jaladi.
So, more than a quarter of a century ago, Raymond James was founded with the mission to help their clients achieve their financial goals and dreams, and they are still doing this today. A little brief background. In 62, Bob James founded Robert A. James Investments, and then in 1964, Edward Raymond sells Raymond and Associates to Bob James, with the agreement that Bob will name the firm Raymond James and Associates. In 1971, the firm's first computers were introduced. In 1973, they gained a seat on the New York Stock Exchange and Raymond University began. In 1983, the first IPO was issued for $14 million. In 1996, the first time offering for clients to access information on their website started. In 1997, they expanded to cities like Paris and Switzerland as Raymond James International Holdings. In 1998, the firm purchased naming rights to Tampa Bay's new stadium, where they still have rights until 2027. And in 2017, they were selected to be part of the S&P 500 index. We said that for a business strategy, that Raymond James had an integrated business strategy leaning more towards the differentiator side. Raymond James definitely is rewarded for putting clients' interests first. From what I read y'all on the first slide, you can see that, and they always have the client's best interest at heart. And 75% of Raymond James is the private client group with a diversified set of businesses. So it's not just a private client group. There's also other sets of business that they can rely on and grow. Raymond James also competes on best knowledge and services. You can see with the Raymond James University that they want their employees to have the best knowledge, and they're constantly providing trainings to help them do the best job they can do. Also, Raymond James is great with corporate social responsibility. They donated $56.4 million to charities in 2018. And Raymond James was also the first to establish the Bill of Rights, which was huge in the industry because many companies then copied after them. So the next slide is the Porter's Five Forces model. And just to briefly go over this shows the attractiveness of the industry. So we said that the intensity of rivalry is strong because the number of the competitors in the industry are low, and the competitors they do have are very large. And because of the market share, firms will definitely be competitive in order to gain position. We said that the bargaining power of the buyer is weak because buyers have few firms to choose from, so they cannot really control prices. And then buyers also can't really find alternative products or services in the industry, so that's why it's weak. For bargaining power of supplier, we also said it was weak because products and services are standard for suppliers with low differentiation and switching costs. Raymond James can easily switch suppliers. Then we said that the threat of new entry is also weak because economies of scale is different in this industry, or is difficult in this industry, and it's also very expensive. And then also government policies make it difficult to be able to join the industry. We then said threat of substitution is weak to moderate because there are very few substitutes in the industry, but what makes it more moderate is that there's a newer substitution, which is online applications that are free and cheap, but it's not really a concern, we think, for Raymond James at the moment.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about the driving forces for Raymond James. These are external forces that affect the industry that they cannot avoid but must react to become successful. First driving force would be uncertain economic conditions. The economic trends that affect the financial services industry can be uncertain and volatile, especially recently. These trends affect interest rates and security market values, which directly impact the financial services industry and its clients. Regulatory compliance is another driving force. This industry has a multitude of regulations that it must meet in order to remain in compliance. Regulations are increasingly becoming more complex, and infractions can lead to massive fines, employment termination, and negative public perception. Next driving force would be emerging competitors. There are many competitors emerging in the financial services industry. Presently, competitors can range from small local banks to regional and national banks to online self-directed banks, most, if not all, of which have their own investment or private wealth services for clients. Competition is certainly increasing in this industry. And the final driving force we've identified is customer expectations. And customers expect the highest quality of services when it comes to their money. They expect high returns on their investments, of course, low fees, and easy-to-use computer and mobile banking features. All right, so next I'll talk about key success factors for Raymond James to be successful going forward in future years in this industry. The first key success factor would be to acquire quality talent. This industry is all about people, and business is won and lost at times because of the communication between the firm and its clients. Firms in the financial services industry must acquire and retain talented employees who are skilled at working with customers and their finances in order to be successful. Transparency towards clients would be the next key success factor for Raymond James. Customers want to know how their money is working and where it is going. Typically, things that get customers upset are unexpected occurrences, such as hidden fees, investment return possibilities not properly communicated, and slow processing turnaround times, to name a few. Customers want their bank and their financial advisor to be as upfront and transparent with them as possible in regards to anything with their finances. Acquiring clients would be the next key success factor for Raymond James. Firms in this industry grow by acquiring new clients and retaining their current clients. This can be done responsibly by having quality conversations and meetings with prospects, building and maintaining their current relationships with existing clients, and merging with another firm or acquiring another firm to gain clients, as long as the analysis and the financials look to make this a sensible decision. The final key success factor for Raymond James that we've identified is to provide competitive resources. Firms in this industry must provide their clients and their employees with the highest quality resources to be sustainable. They must provide their clients with cutting-edge online and mobile capabilities, as well as providing their employees with the best technology to service their clients' finances at the highest level. Okay, next I'll go over the SWOT analysis for Raymond James. Now, as far as the strengths of the SWOT analysis, the top two that we've identified, the first one would be brand recognition. The Raymond James brand has been around for several decades and has become a well-known brand in the financial services industry, especially regarding client investments. Today, they have around 8,000 financial advisors and have been recognized in Fortune's list of most admired companies in the securities and asset management category. Next top strength that we've identified would be their company culture. Raymond James takes pride in their company culture, which promotes a client-first mentality, conservatism, independence, and integrity as described in their corporate values. In 2018 alone, they donated $56.4 million to charitable organizations. For the weaknesses for Raymond James, the top one that we've identified would be regulatory infractions. Raymond James has had some recent controversial situations regarding infractions which have affected its public perception. In 2017, they were fined $2 million by FINRA. FINRA is the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority. They were fined for failing to maintain reasonably designed supervision systems for reviewing company email communications. More recently, in 2018, one of their former broker advisors was terminated for his alleged connection to rules violations by introducing customers to a third party for the purpose of making investments into a product not offered by Raymond James, although Raymond James offered similar products. Other weaknesses we've identified are recent app reviews. The recent app performance and reviews of the Raymond James app for both the Google Play Store and the Apple Play Store are less than stellar. The Google Play Store review average is 3.8 out of 5, while the Apple App Store review is 2.7 out of 5. Some opportunities for Raymond James include increasing client acquisition. This can be done accomplished through traditional referrals or prospect meetings. Another opportunity would be engaging future generations of clients and employees. Future generations will be the next client base and employment base for Raymond James, and they need to do proactive. They have an opportunity to be proactive engaging these individuals. And some threats for Raymond James that we've identified would be economic uncertainty, industry regulations, generational client base changes, strong competition, and a shortage of skilled workers.
Okay, I'll be talking about financial analysis, and this is generated from Capital IQ as of 16th of July 2019. And from this, we find out that Raymond James is is the 14th largest company when it comes to investment banking and brokerage by market capitalization. The company has total revenue of 7.46 million in 2019, and their market capitalization is about 12 million US dollars. Um, Next, please. Okay, these are the key ratios we have for Raymond James, and we can see here that Raymond James actually performed better than the industry average in every aspect of the ratio except for the operating margin. They have like gross margin, which is even higher than Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley. Uh, can you go to the next slide, please? Thank you. So this is a quick comparison between Raymond James and Morgan Stanley, and we can see, like I said, that they have like higher gross margin profit compared to Morgan Stanley. Uh, However, the operating margin is actually low, and that is due to increase in cost and like operating costs and compensation and benefits they pay to the employees. Um, yeah, that's the reason why they have like that low operating margin, and which ultimately affect the net profit also. Except for that, they are good on every other ratios.
Okay, so based on our analysis for Raymond James, we've identified some strategic concerns that they should pay attention to in sustaining their future growth. The first strategic concern would be their app performance causing negative perceptions. Due to recent app reviews, the perception of the Raymond James Client Access app is unsatisfactory. As previously mentioned, the Google Play Store average review scored a 3.8 out of 5, while the Apple App Store average review scored a 2.8 out of 5. And this was largely due to performance. The next strategic concern would be failure to consider technological preferences of the next generation. The next generation, or millennials, will be the future clients for Raymond James, and technology is extremely important to millennials. A recent study showed that of those surveyed, twice as many millennials are using mobile banking than baby boomers do. Millennials are also 2.5 times more likely to switch banks than baby boomers, and 1.5 times more likely to switch banks than Generation Xers. And this is based on the same survey.
Our first recommendation, this with the global expansion. So Raymond James currently have their operations majorly in the US, Canada, and Germany, and a little bit part of Europe. So one of the recommendations, the first one we have right now, is that they should look into expansion into other regions of the world. And saying that, we are particular about 4 key markets, which include China, Australia, and India, and Africa. So the reason why we said they should look into China is because China accounted for about 74% of the ex-Japan Asia investment banking fees in 2019, and is tracking the same amount in 2019. And the Asian Pacific issuance in the primary bond market has grown from 60 billion to 10 to 400 billion in 2017. So China is a key market where Raymond James needs to look into to develop a form of strategic alliance with China. Because why we said they should go into strategic alliance in China is because although China has a huge potential market for the company, but there's a lot of investment broker in the country, and the fee that they charge in that country is usually very low because of the amount of people that are doing the same thing over there. And so for Africa and Indian, which I imagine market, our recommendation is that Raymond James should go in there and establish a local office, because over there is no too much. I mean, their 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 fees. I mean, God, I lost it. So we recommend that they go into open a regional office in those countries. Yes.
Okay, so the second recommendation is all about Raymond James' app called Client Access. And the recommendation is just to update the Raymond James Client Access application to be compatible to more phones, making it more user friendly. So you can see the reviews to the right. A lot of people say just fix the app, update it because the password's not working, or it's not compatible with an update on the phone, and the latest new features don't work, and it's not letting them upgrade them and all of that. So that's why we really want it to be updated. The biggest issue that we see is that the application is not accessible to all devices, depending on, like I said, the updated version of your phone, which, as most of you know, your phone updates all the time. So it's hard to stay up to date with the latest version. And the problem is that many of Raymond James' older clients don't have the latest and greatest cell phones or technology, so they're not able to use the app. And the desktop version is also not as great on the phone either. The next biggest issue we see is that many features of the app, like facial recognition and fingerprint software or passwords, do not work, and the application often freezes. Then, so we talk about how we're going to do this. The way we're going to do this is recommend doing this is to hire a top mobile application developer. And we recommend Hyperlink Infosystem, which is one of the top app developers. And this is just to better the application in necessary areas. Mobile application developers have more in-depth experiences with application, and they can look at applications and know how to improve them for users. They can also read the reviews and easily fix the areas and improve in areas that Raymond James doesn't even know needs to be fixed. Another recommendation we have is just application trainings, which can be in-depth or high-level videos of application trainings to be sent to the clients, and Hyperlink could also do that. I'm going to go to another slide and then come back. This is on Hyperlink Infosystem's website. It's the average app development cost. So as you can see right here, we compared it to a project management app, and we are predicting around 20,000 due to the application base already existing and them not having to build the app from scratch. So that's roughly about how much we predict. Back to the other slide, and just the overall benefit we see in this is that it'll attract more customers if the response on the applications are better from current customers and they get more reviews and positive reviews at that.
Okay, and our final recommendation for Raymond James, based on our analysis, would help resolve two of the strategic concerns, those being the perception of the apps and also the engaging the next generation of clients. Now, the recommendation is to launch a new digital platform client satisfaction program. Now, how does this work? Well, it's a 4-step program. The first part would be to have digital platform discussions with clients as a part of their regularly scheduled client meetings. Now, clients for Raymond James, as most financial industry services firms have, are regular scheduled meetings with their clients. They go over their investments, their gains, their losses, performance, and a key part that Raymond James could add to these regularly scheduled meetings could be a digital platform discussion. This could be to see if the client is using digital platforms for Raymond James accounts. If they are, how do they like it? What do they like about it? What they don't like about it? Kind of get an informal review of the digital platforms from the client's point of view. The second part of this digital platform client satisfaction program is to offer Raymond James branded items for completed reviews. Now, part of the issue with the reviews that are posted for both the Google Play Store and also the Apple App Store are the number of reviews. Now, they do both have low reviews. As mentioned previously, Google Play Store was a 3.8 out of 5, while the Apple App Store is a 2.8 out of 5. But if you look at the total number of reviews, you can see that there's very little, which actually sways the average score, especially if you have a bad score that can certainly deplete that average pretty heavily. Branded items can be very simple items such as a Raymond James pen, Raymond James hat, a Raymond James shirt, a Raymond James stationery. Anyone who completes a review not only will add to the number of reviews for Raymond James app, but will also get a complimentary Raymond James branded item. The next part of this plan would be to offer solutions to aid clients that voice their dissatisfaction during those regularly scheduled meetings. Now, since the first part of this plan is to incorporate the digital platform discussion during these meetings, I'm sure some of these clients that use the app will voice dissatisfaction during the meeting in person to the financial advisor. Now, some of these issues that voice dissatisfaction can be caused by not knowing how to use the app, not knowing where to find certain resources within the app or within the digital platform. This can be solved immediately by the financial advisor offering solutions as to showing how-tos, or as Julia mentioned earlier, demonstrating the quick reference guides as to help the client. And a lot of this dissatisfaction can be eliminated and resolved during the regularly scheduled client meetings. The final part of this client satisfaction program would be to ensure that their current polling strategy with Qualtrics, and Qualtrics is the third-party polling firm that works with Raymond James. They generate the surveys for both just the regular client satisfaction surveys as well as the digital platform client satisfaction surveys. Raymond James can ensure that this polling strategy with Qualtrics effectively targets active digital users. Parts of this can be to have message notifications within the app. Active users obviously go into their app quite often. The Raymond James polling strategy can see how often the active user is going in, and every so often can send a message notification about a survey. They can also implement pop-up surveys that you see on several apps out there nowadays that rate 1 through 5 out of stars. And this can also be done by a traditional email survey as well. But the main idea is to ensure that their current polling strategy with Qualtrics effectively targets active digital users and to get credible current feedback from these users so that they can implement strategies going forward. Now, based on these recommendations, we believe that Raymond James, if they follow them, can secure sustainability in the financial services industry going forward. Thank you.